Today, I'm bringing guys a brand new sports cards video. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down the most valuable sports cards in 2022. Now, before we get into actual sales, I did want to highlight a few cards that haven't actually sold, but are likely the most valuable sports cards based on pure value. Of course, these are not based on sales, but one of them is going to be LeBron's one-of-one 2003 Ultimate Collection Logo Man. So this card has not sold. It's estimated to be worth around $30 million. There was an offer at one point for $30 million. The seller did turn it down. Of course, at one point, LeBron's other exquisite rookie cards were selling for close to $2 million. So you can only imagine a Logo Man would go for a good amount more than a normal exquisite. So this card is definitely in the $10+ million range if it were to sell. So of course, just an absolute beauty right there with that LeBron Logo Man. Another one of them is going to be Stephen Curry's 2009 Topps Chrome Superfractor. Now this card has not sold either. However, if you look at the Steph Curry Logo Man sale that I believe was at around $5.6 million, you can only imagine how much a Superfractor would go for. I personally believe it would sell for more than the Logo Man, just because of how rare it is. Of course, a Logo Man's one of one as well, but there are other Steph Curry Logo Mans that you can get from different years. But the Superfractor with Topps Chrome is just, you're never going to see that again in any other Topps Chrome product, because 2009 was the last year of Topps Chrome. So it essentially made for perfect timing. It was the last year of Topps Chrome, so the only Topps Chrome Steph Curry card you can get, period. And then on top of that, it being a one-of-one Superfractor. So this card is definitely, my guess would be between $5 and $7 million. But of course, I'm only one to guess. If it hit the market, it could go much higher than that. Who knows? But I would say it's at least a $5 million card. Now, of course, there isn't a video about the most valuable sports cards out there without the Mickey Mantle Topps PSA 10 rookie card. So this 52 Topps, of course, there is a PSA 10. There are 3 PSA 10s. However, they've never hit the market. It's apparently roughly a $30 million card as well. At least according to many reports, the PSA 9 has gone for $5.2 million. Even the PSA 8 did over $2 million. But just given how rare this PSA 10 is, I assume it would have a big premium over the PSA 9. Even I'm going to go into the sales history right here, where you see an SGC 9.5 sold for 12.6. So I definitely believe a PSA 10 would be in the $20 to $30 million range if it were to hit an auction house. So these cards are just absolutely stunning. I don't even know how you could physically get a PSA 10, and that's why there are only 3 of them out there. But the card is just absolutely beautifully centered, pristine condition. So I definitely believe it would be a $20 to $30 million card. Now we're going to go into some actual sales. So as you guys can see here, the highest sale that Card Ladder has actually registered has been Mickey Mantle's 1952 Topps and SGC 9.5 for $12.6 million, which was fairly recent. Just a couple months back. But as you guys know, one of the most coveted cards that you're going to see a lot of in this list is going to be Honus Wagner. Probably the most iconic sports card you can possibly find. It's been the most expensive for years and years. And even SGC 2s have sold for $7.25 million. And these are actually going up in price, even though the overall market's gone down, and that's just because you cannot find these. So as you guys can see here, in last year in August, when the sports card market was actually at an overall, I would say more substantial place in terms of, the overall economy doing better and, higher sales across the board for sports cards, and SGC 3 sold for $6.6 million. And you see a worse grade in August of 2022, and SGC 2 sold for a higher price. So the prices on guys like Mickey Mantle and Honus Wagner are actually going up, which is very interesting considering the overall market has been going down. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. But as you guys can see here, the one I referred to was during its peak, the LeBron James Exquisite Gold actually sold for $5.2 million, and that is why I definitely believe the Logo Man would have a crazy multiple over this. But yeah, this card is an absolute stunning piece. Of course, this card has actually gone down quite a lot since April of 2021, but it's definitely still $1 million plus card, and the Exquisite Gold is just, probably the second to third best LeBron James card you could possibly have. Now, as you guys can see here, we have some more Mickey Mantle sales. The PSA 9 did $5.2 million in the beginning of last year. So that's, of course, a very strong sale. I believe if it were to sell today, it would be closer to $7 to $8 million, just based on the hype and based on the SGC 9.5 sale for 12.6. So I do think if it were to sell today, it could honestly be closer to $10 million. So definitely that was a card that really paid off for whoever bought that. Now, this card is an interesting one, this Luka Doncic Logo Man, because it recently just sold for $3.1 million or so. So this card went down around $1.5 million, but I do believe, it is the Luka card to go after. So if Luka Doncic truly has a career like we believe he will, I do think this card could actually be a pretty decent long-term bet. So as you guys can see, we're going to scroll through a little bit faster just so we can get to more cards. But a big Patrick Mahomes, his best card. It's probably down since then, but he is still probably one of the top 2 best quarterbacks in the league. So that card should do great. We got a Babe Ruth Gaudy. This card is, a PSA 9 you're just never going to see. I actually just sold one of these in a PSA Authentic for around $5,000 to $6,000. So that just shows the difference between the grades and how rare a Pop 1 PSA 9 Babe Ruth would be and how it sold for $4.2 million. And if it were to sell today, I do believe it would sell for more than that number. Now, Mike Trout, of course, best baseball player out there, his best card, $3.8 million. Now, Tom Brady's cards have really gone down since Feb of 2022. So this card, we've seen some very low sales recently, but in February of this year, one did sell for $3.8 million in a BGS 9, which is very interesting. Now, this card is the pinnacle of hockey cards you can find. We got a Wayne Gretzky PSA 10 O-Pee-Chee, which is practically impossible to find. It did sell in 2021 for $3.75. I do think it would sell for a little bit more today, but that's my personal opinion. One hasn't hit the market since. I don't believe so. That's just a card that's stunning for any hockey fan. But we see more of this Holy Grail Honus Wagner sales. But this card is actually extremely recent. This month, we saw a sale of a Mickey Mantle PSA 9 1951 Bowman, which is very interesting because we are starting to see these really start to pick up pace over the 1952 tops. So this card sold for close to $3.2 million. So that is a very interesting sale, given the 1952 tops has been the go-to for Mickey Mantle. But this card, I have been seeing at sports card shows especially, that this card has really picked up a lot of steam and could be one of the most iconic, cards in the industry going forward. So as you guys can see here is the sale of the same Luka Doncic that sold for 4.6 down to 3.1. And as you guys can see, we're going to see a lot more Mickey Mantle on this list. Mickey Mantle's 1953 tops has even sold for 3.1 in a PSA 10. So that just shows how rare a PSA 10 is of these cards. So that's just, a stunning copy. And as you guys can see, we're just going to see a lot of the same names. But Michael Jordan is up here, and he doesn't have an absolute holy grail card that is, going to blow out the waters, because he is arguably the most iconic athlete out of this list. But his cards haven't quite hit the $5 million, $6 million range. I believe they will one day, but this is the highest recorded Michael Jordan sale possible, and that has been for $2.7 million in October of last year. So this is going to be a card to keep an eye on if it does sell again. Where it would end is a question. I do think it has gone down since the $2.7 million sale, but nonetheless, $1 million plus card. So definitely probably the best Michael Jordan card. Now, this is the card in this list that I really wanted to talk about, because I do believe it is, quite frankly, the most overpriced card in this list. This LeBron Triple Logo Man from 2020 Flawless, I think is just way out of its ballpark at 2.4. I do personally think this card is an extremely important card. People do love the logo man, so it's of course a triple logo man of LeBron, but given you can literally buy full game used LeBron jerseys for tens of thousands of dollars, I do believe this card doesn't hold as much significance just because it doesn't have the auto and it's not a rookie card. So I do believe in the long term, the significance is not going to be here for it to be a $2.4 million card. I do believe in the future it's going to be closer to a $400,000 to $500,000 card, which I know is a very strong statement to make, but that's my personal opinion. So we'll see how that ages. But we see a lot of these championship ticket Tom Brady's that have sold, and as you guys can see, the BGS 9 has really gone down in price. It more recently sold for $2.4 million, which is still very high, but not as much as it was going for before. But yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap up this video. We see a lot of interesting sales. For example, a Giannis sale. I believe if this card sold today, it would be closer to $4 million. We see a Kobe absolute beautiful PMG. But yeah, I really hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you would like to go ahead and subscribe, and we're on our road to 50,000 subscribers, so definitely subscribe, drop a like. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'm out. Peace.